Part 117. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 1165. Shan Shan clumsily put on the prosthetic limbs, and his hands and feet were trembling with excitement. The whole person looked like a child who suddenly got a candy, and the excitement was reflected on his face. Why are you standing there? Take 2 quick steps and try it out to see if it fits. If it doesn't work, revise it again, Subai urged. He also wanted to see if this prosthetic limb was suitable for Hills. If not, he would have to think of other ways. After all, the value there now is not made of wood, but all kinds of materials. Yes. The adaptability and mobility would be better that way, but in primitive times there might not be so many requirements. Being able to make a pair of prosthetics out of wood is already pretty good. The hills are still a bit unnatural, and for a while he didn't know what to do, but he was able to stand up with Gumyu's help. He stood up very fearfully, his pupils flashing with surprise and shock, and a trace of uncertainty. This was something he was very familiar with. Height, and a height that he had not experienced for a long time. Subai specifically asked the tribe, and many people determined what Shan Shan's previous height was. Therefore, this pair of prostheses was specially customized based on Shan Shan's previous height, so there will be a very familiar feeling. Is this true? Xiao Shan tightly held the old man Gumyu next to him, not daring to let go at all. He was now looking around at everything on the second floor of Yong'an Building, feeling so familiar and yet so strange. Yong'an Building has also come to Yong'an Building less often. So the city inside was still very familiar, but it was the first time he saw the second floor of Yong'an Building at this height. So it was a feeling of familiarity and unfamiliarity at the same time. This height made him unable to hold back anymore and started crying. This is a happy thing, why are you crying like this? Gumyu comforted him angrily. In fact, he was not qualified to criticize others, because his eyes were also full of mist. This scene was really shocking. A person who lost his legs could still be like this. Stand up. I couldn't imagine this happening at all, but now it's really happening in front of me. Try to walk quickly. Standing up is only the first step. Once you get used to it after walking, it will never be too late to be happy again, Subai said. It's not too difficult to put the prosthetic leg on and stand up. What's difficult is whether you can walk after standing up. After all, it's not a finger prosthesis or a calf prosthesis. This time the prosthesis made is a thigh prosthesis. It is difficult for the thigh prosthesis to promote the balance of the body, and it is also very difficult to move around, so you have to walk around first to determine whether it is suitable. Good. Shan Shan's voice was a little choked. He started to walk with the help of Grandpa Gumyu, taking every step very carefully. Shan Shan didn't dare to make any big movements for fear of damaging the prosthetic limbs under him. I couldn't be more cautious with every step I took. As a result, my walking speed was very slow and it seemed that my walking was very difficult. Is the prosthetic limb not suitable? It looks like you're having a hard time walking, Subai asked. He didn't know that the other party was reluctant to beat him. He only knew that the other party looked really uncomfortable. And the speed was too slow. It was originally assumed that it was to make life more convenient. If it was so slow, it would be better not to do it. Okay. Hill's normal walking speed is very fast, which is many times faster than the current prosthetic limb. No, it's just that I'm afraid of damaging these prostheses. After all, I'm a rude person and I'm used to being rude. Shan Shan shook his head quickly. In fact, he has only experienced the feeling of standing up now, and has not experienced the feeling of walking. After all, it has been so many years since he lost his legs, and he has long forgotten what walking feels like. In addition, now with prosthetic limbs he was really afraid of damaging such a precious thing because of his rudeness. I thought it was something, just go ahead boldly, if it's so easy to break, Then don't do it. Subai couldn't help but rolled his eyes. He thought there was something wrong with the design of the prosthesis, but he didn't expect that the other party was completely reluctant to leave. Good Shan Shan thought it made sense. He clenched his fists and used the severed limbs to drive the prosthetic limbs. He tried his best to feel the feeling of walking before. After all, this is the feeling he has had since he was a child. If he thinks about it, he can still get it back. He started to move forward one step at a time. The movements at first were very unfamiliar and looked very mechanized, which gave it a very funny feeling. I almost fell down several times today, but fortunately, Grandpa Goma caught me in time. And the hills also maintain the body's balance. It may be very difficult, but you have to use your lower body to drive the prosthesis as much as possible. This is not something that can be done once, and you must practice more, Subai explained. When he saw that the other party was walking with a little difficulty, he knew that this was not an easy task. After all, his legs below the thigh were gone. Clear Shan Shan gritted his teeth and nodded. He began to use his lower body to put on the pair of prosthetic limbs, and moved forward with difficulty one step at a time. Although it was very difficult at the beginning, he seemed to have slowly found the trick later. Although it still looks very unnatural, at least it has been able to go a long way. Great, this is a good start, nothing terribly uncomfortable, right? Subai asked. He understood that a very awkward way of walking is a necessary process, and it is difficult for some people to walk very smoothly in the end. So as long as you can walk with your hands instead, it is a good thing, and the rest are also. I dare not ask for too much. As for walking very naturally and gracefully like a normal person, it is definitely impossible. It is already a great gift for you to be able to walk again. There was no discomfort at all. These prosthetics are really great. The eyes of a tough man on the hill were already filled with tears, and even snot began to pour out of his nose. It can be imagined that he was really moved and excited. This is what he has been pursuing all his life. Originally he had given up hope for a long time. Although Subai had told him before that it might be possible to make you walk again, it was only possible. Although he was a powerful witch from the tribe, he could make a person without legs walk again. It's still very difficult. Shan Shan has a very Buddhist attitude from beginning to end. Maybe it's this attitude that makes him so excited to be able to walk again. Go back and practice more, Subai said with a smile. As long as the opponent can practice well, he will be a very powerful totem warrior in the future. Please support and customize. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 1166. When will Wu be ready? Yanhu looked shocked. Niujiao Niang didn't dare to speak at all. Her entire attention was attracted by the pair of prosthetic legs. She had never seen such a thing before, let alone nothing like it. The person with the legs can still stand up again. After the pair of prosthetic legs hit the hill, the way the other person started walking was really shocking. Yes, it looks like it took a long time to make. Wu must have been preparing it a long time ago, Shalan asked. The same thing happened to the cat-eared girl. She didn't dare to speak loudly just now, and her attention was all on the pair of prosthetic legs. Especially after seeing the hill stand up successfully, she had doubts several times that she was the one who just stood up. It's not that I saw it wrong. After all, this is really unrealistic and impossible to happen. It did take a long time to prepare. It took me about 10 days just to draw the pictures, Subai said with a shrug. It was not an easy task to make a pair of prosthetic limbs in primitive times. There are too many factors to consider, such as the height of the prosthetic limb, the sensitivity of each joint, and the wear resistance of the prosthetic limb. Wait. These are all things that need to be considered. After all, there are no precise instruments and measurements on Earth to make a perfect pair of prosthetics. Uncle Hill must be so happy that he can suddenly walk again, Yanhua said. She has almost never seen Shan Shan cry. Not to mention a little girl like her, even others have never seen it. This is what Yan Jiao said. He said that Shan Shan lost his legs at that time. He has never cried at all, and his perseverance is amazing. But the moment he put on the prosthesis, his eyes were immediately filled with water mist. You can imagine how long he has been holding this matter in his heart. Uncle Hill is a very powerful totem warrior. If he could have legs, our tribe would be stronger. Shalan thought about what would happen to the Dark Scorpion tribe in the future. Although the strength within the tribe is also very strong now, if there is one more person, it will be more powerful. I think so too, but I still want him to do his job as a mason. With the strength of our current tribe, we can almost fight against the Dark Scorpion tribe. Subai is quite confident. Although other tribes are now preparing to attack the Yanlong tribe, his focus is still on development. Of course, defense and counterattack are also being considered and carried out, otherwise it would not be possible. I will be as calm and relaxed as now. I thought Wu took out the prosthetic limb at this time because he wanted Uncle Shan to lead a team of totem warriors. Yanhua is a little confused. I haven't thought about it this way, it's just that I promised him before. Besides, this is not something you can accomplish. Why not do it if you can fulfill other people's long-cherished wishes? Subai smiled heartily and continued, what's more, our tribe's preparations are almost done, and the only thing left is the arrival of the enemy. Are you talking about the explosive packs and manual rifles we prepared earlier? This indeed produced a lot and allowed many totem warriors to be trained. Shat. Lan looked confused and continued, but can this really defeat the Dark Scorpion tribe? The cat-eared girl has only seen a war with a small number of manual rifles and explosive packs, and the number of people she dealt with at that time was not large. But now she is dealing with your entire tribe, so she will naturally be worried about this problem. You will know by then that the manual rifle team and the explosive pack team can end an entire war, and we can even achieve 0 casualties. Subai's tone was very confident, and he continued, it will be good if the recurve team will perform the final touch-up. This war will not last too long at all. I even have some expectations. He doesn't want to have one thing pressing in his heart, which is the matter of the Dark Scorpion tribe. Subai just wants to finish this matter quickly, and then let the tribe start to develop with peace of mind. There are other things. Many of his tribes are about to develop, and he has many plans in mind. He can't let this incident stop him from moving forward. There are 30 totem warriors in the manual rifle team, 10 in the explosive pack team, and 100 people in the recurve team, half of whom are totem warriors and the other half are reserve warriors. Shalan counted on his fingers and continued, there are also 100 people in the longsword squad, half of whom are ordinary people and half of whom are reserve soldiers. Calculated with this number, it is indeed relatively easy for us. This is for sure, who made our tribe's weapons so advanced. They are much better than their weapons. Yanhua looked very confident and continued, if we really want to fight, we should have an absolute advantage. No wonder Wu looks so calm now. Now we just need to know when they will set off and how many people will come to our tribe at that time, and we will be able to take corresponding measures. Subai tapped his index finger back and forth on the table and said, this time we can only succeed and not fail. We must completely wipe out this tribe, so that our Yanlong tribe can develop better. His plan has always been to urbanize the Yanlong tribe, but the reason why it has not been promoted is because of the Dark Scorpion tribe. Subai just wants to solve this matter, and then start to promote urbanization, that is, various tribes are beginning to turn to cities. He doesn't want the people here to live in barbarism, and wants everyone to start living like a modern person. Although this is a very difficult thing, it still needs to be tried. Not to mention that Subai has already produced so many modern things in this primitive era. In time, his idea will definitely be realized. But before that, practical actions must be taken first. Of course, Some obstacles must be cleared. Road work is also necessary. Wu, I can let Brown do this. He is very hardworking and can help us keep an eye on him. It shouldn't be a problem. Yan Hua said immediately. The first thing she thought about was Fenying. After raising it for so long, it was finally time to put it to use. No, let it stay with you in case you need to use it for anything. I plan to let the insects of the Argali tribe go, Subai said. He had heard their people say before that these bugs can explore paths. Yes, Yanhua and Shalan made sounds of surprise at the same time. They had almost forgotten such an important role, and suddenly felt that the Yanlong tribe was more likely to win. Please support and customize. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 1167. What should we do? Don't those bugs talk? Yanhua asked curiously. The bugs in the Argali tribe are just ordinary bugs. They are just more obedient, but they can't speak. Could it be that, as they said, there is a formation when there is danger, and there is a formation when there is no danger? Shalan thought for a moment and continued, if we look at them coming and going, is it also the same formation? It seems difficult to explain. After all, it is a silent insect. It can only detect whether there is any danger ahead, but it would be difficult to detect every move of the dark scorpion tribe. This is what the cat-eared girl thinks. I don't really count on them. Whether it can be passed over such a long distance is still one thing. I have to think of a more suitable method. Subai thought for a while and continued, but it is still okay as a small stage investigation. There must be our people watching in the middle. The witch wants our people to stay in the middle and let the insects get close to the dark scorpion tribe, right? Yanhua guessed. That's right, it's too dangerous to approach the dark scorpion tribe directly, but it's good to be able to choose a compromise and let the bugs take the risk. Those guys don't know that these bugs are a threat. Subai blinked his deep eyes and continued, if there is any movement in the dark scorpion tribe, those bugs can also call the police, so that the safety of our soldiers can be guaranteed. Before you fully understand the dark scorpion tribe, it's always right to be careful. That's right. This can indeed prevent many dangerous things from happening. Has Wu thought about who he wants to let go? Shalan asked. After all, it has been so long, and it is almost time for the dark scorpion tribe to move out. According to the time calculation, it is almost next year, so when there is heavy ice and snow, we have to consider next year. But this it is not a simple matter, this is a matter related to the safety of the entire tribe. Therefore, the selection is very important. The psychological quality and personal ability must be able to keep up. You must not lose the chain at the critical moment. Otherwise, the entire tribe will be destroyed. If you fall into danger, all the hard-earned advantages will disappear. I am also thinking about this issue. The candidates for investigation are very important and must not be careless, Subai said seriously. He had actually been thinking about this problem for a long time, but he had been thinking about it for so many days and still couldn't think of the right person. Although the Yanlong tribe now has very good advantages, they must not make any mistakes. Otherwise, all the advantages he has finally established will be lost, which is why he is so entangled. In fact, we can let my father go, he is too reliable, but after he goes, no one will look after the tribe, and there will be more witch things. Yanhua frowned and thought for a moment, then continued, it's not feasible to let Aunt Shahong go. She is one of the strongest people in the tribe. If she leaves the tribe, she will lose a lot of security. The horn girl suddenly didn't know who to choose. She felt that no one was very suitable and would be a little dangerous to the tribe. What if Uncle Kinjian goes? No, he still has to be responsible for the fleet. He can't leave. Shat. Lan immediately shook his head and continued, Uncle Kangxi is also unavailable. He needs to lead the tribe's patrol. Now, suddenly I didn't know who to choose. The cat-eared lady understands Sudbai's dilemma. It seems that there is really no suitable candidate. After all, this matter is very dangerous. The candidate must not be careless. It must be a very stable person. But the steady people all perform their duties, and there is no way to spare people to watch the Dark Scorpion tribe. Going there to watch is not something that will end in a day or two. It can take as little as 10 days and as many as 1 or 2 months. Maybe, if a stable person leaves for too long, the development of the Yanlong tribe will have to be particularly cautious. Right, after taking a look at it yourself, you know how difficult it is for me, right? Sudbai spread his hands helplessly. He really wanted to choose those very stable people to go over, but their positions in the Yanlong tribe are very important. It can be said that you can't touch anyone casually, and you can't touch anyone. They have to think of better people to replace their positions. But now there is no one in the tribe who is more suitable to replace their positions. This is why Sudbai is so confused now. We immediately hit a bottleneck, but we still have a lot of time to think about it, and we can always choose the right candidate, Yanhua said immediately. She actually wanted to do this task, but she was worried that she would mess it up. After all, she was always told not to be too messy, and she must behave herself and not go too far. You need to be more careful with your rashness. The mission this time is so important, the horned lady really doesn't dare to recommend herself anymore. Yes, Wu, maybe we will be able to figure out a solution in a few days, so don't worry yet, Shalan immediately followed. The cat-eared girl was even more afraid to recommend herself, because she was not very stable yet, and this matter was very important, and she was afraid that she would mess it up. It is not easy for the entire tribe to develop so well. Shalan really doesn't want to lose at his own hands in the end. Anyway, I already have some candidates in mind, I just want to see if they are more suitable after some time, Sudbai said lightly. In the end, he finally found some more suitable people, but for the sake of safety, he didn't want to make this decision immediately. Wu, who is it? Yanhua asked curiously. Don't be so curious, it can't be you two anyway, you still have to do something for me in the tribe, Sudbai smiled and said. We don't dare to do this mission. This mission is too important. Yanhua immediately shook her head. She was no longer curious this time, and she no longer dared to rush out and say I want to go. After all, she was still too young. Although she had become an intermediate totem warrior, she was still very young after all. I'm the same way, I'm glad the witch didn't choose us, ha 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 ha. Shalan couldn't help but smile. It's just that you also have very important tasks when the time comes, so you have to be mentally prepared. Sudbai vaccinated them in advance. Don't worry, Wu, no matter what the task is, we will complete it. Yanhua said immediately. Me too. Shalan said, wagging the cat's tail. Don't be happy too early, what if it's very difficult? Sudbai asked with a smile. It doesn't matter, Yanhua and Shalan responded without hesitation. Please support and customize. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 1168. Cold snowflakes fell from the sky piece by piece, and in an instant, the entire continent was covered in silver. The Yanlong tribe was also shrouded in white snow, but the snow did not disturb everyone's interest. There are still the same many people in the tribe, and everyone is still doing the same work. Sudbai stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling window and looked at the snow outside, and sighed. It's another year of heavy snow and ice. Time flies so fast. It had been almost 2 years since he had traveled back in time, and the burden on him was getting heavier and heavier. Coming heavier. The whole person is responsible for the operation of the entire tribe and future life issues. In addition, they also have to fight against some people who are eyeing them. Just like the Dark Scorpion tribe, After the big ice and snow is over, it's time for them to prepare to resist. Yes, Wu, if it weren't for you in our tribe, I'm afraid we would have been gone last year, Yanhua said with great emotion. What Niojiao Niang said is absolutely right. If it weren't for Sudbai's leadership, the Yanlong tribe would never have survived until now. The most important thing is that it has developed so well and can compete with other tribes. Trading. The main thing is that you believe in me, otherwise I wouldn't be able to do this alone. Sudbai took the tea handed over by Yu Ying. He had always thought so, because the methods he thought of were very unfamiliar to people in the primitive era. If they questioned or everyone did not follow his ideas, if we do it, then the Yanlong tribe will not be able to develop so well. The witch has become the leader of our tribe, so naturally we will believe whatever he says, Yanhua replied without hesitation. It makes sense to say this. After this big ice and snow, many totem warriors will be awakened again, and the strength of our tribe will rise again. Sudbai took a sip of tea slowly. He can be said to be very confident now. After the last result, he is particularly looking forward to the result this time. There should be a lot of awakenings this time. Everyone eats well, drinks well, and sleeps well. If the number of awakenings is not as good as last year, it would really be unreasonable. Yanhua said lightly. Tap tap tap. Shalan just walked in from outside at this moment. Today is the first day of heavy ice and snow. It was also the day when the Blue Eyes fleet returned from the outside. Cat-eared girl made a special trip to the dock. Who knows that Shalan is the witch besides Sudbai? Naturally, she must collect any information as soon as possible. So when the ship docked, the cat-eared girl was already waiting nearby, in order to send the news that Qinjian and the others had brought back to Yong'an Tower as soon as possible. Have a sip of hot tea to warm yourself up. It looks really cold outside. Yu Ying poured a large cup of hot tea very considerately. Ever since tea was introduced in Yong'an building, it has almost become a must-have item. Except when you first get up in the morning and before going to bed at night, almost I drink several cups throughout the day. I drink when I eat, I drink when I finish eating, and I drink even more during breaks. Is it reasonable not to drink during afternoon tea? Wu, all the tribes have agreed to cooperate with us, that is, when spring begins, we can build the dock. Shalan said immediately. After Qinjian took the people from the tribe back, he did not leave directly, but waited for their reply before leaving. Of course, the tribe at the beginning was the one who finally got the answer, that is, let go all the way. Go all the way to the end, and then follow their answers all the way back to the Yanlong tribe. Fortunately, this time all 8 tribes agreed to cooperate with the Yanlong tribe, and the other 2 tribes have become members of the Yanlong tribe. Part of it? The answer was as expected. Sending them back was just a pretense. I just wanted to see what their tribe wanted to do. Sudbai continued to sip tea leisurely. He believed that the tribes would not be able to resist such good conditions, at least with the blessing of such good goods. Those guys must prefer the goods of the Yanlong tribe, and the construction. What do a wharf and a bank mean? What's more, these 2 things are also helpful to the development of their tribes. Some tribes even feel that they are getting a bargain. Uncle Qinjian said that the tribes didn't make much movement, but they were very excited after seeing our goods, and their excited voices could be heard even outside the tribe. Shalan covered her mouth and smiled as she spoke. Then the rest of the time was no different from usual. They all promised to cooperate with us after the big ice and snow is over. Then we need to recruit more carpenters during this period, otherwise there won't be so many people to build the dock. Sudbai shook the little tea left in the teacup. Yu Ying immediately stepped forward and added some hot water. These operations were already a basic daily routine. The fox-eared lady was always watching Sudbai's every move, for fear that something might happen. What matters is to let the other party do it by himself. That is to say, Yu Ying will never let Sudbai do some small things. This has always been her purpose. Yes, and we also need to build a bank, And the number of masons must also be there. Shalan nodded. The entire ice and snow should be able to cultivate a group of people. The only problem now is the dark scorpion tribe. Subai blinked his deep eyes and continued, we will be able to obtain a lot of labor force by then. This is what I am looking forward to most. He is not afraid of the dark scorpion tribe at all. On the contrary, he is looking forward to their tribe attacking soon. In this way, all the people in their tribe can be enslaved, which means that they will all become the labor force of the Yanlong tribe. Before Su Wenbai decided to clean up the tribe surrounding the Dark Scorpion tribe, he felt a little regretful that he did not lock up all those people as labor force. But there was nothing he could do about it. At that time, he did not get the talent skill of Queen Bee contract. That is, he did not. There is no way to restrain those people in a completely safe way, so we can only let them be destroyed. Is Wu planning to let them build the road? Shalan thought of this very heavy workload. The Yanlong tribe said they would build roads before the big ice and snow arrived. So far, they have just cleared away the obstacles on the road to be built. That is, those stones, and there are trees and the like, but the distance to be cleaned is not very long. So this is really a very large workload and requires a lot of people. Yes, such hard work must be done by slaves. Subai said calmly. This is the case in this era. If you are with the wrong camp, your future life is destined to be sad. Please support and customize. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 1169. In the Dark Scorpion tribe, bonfires can be seen everywhere, and secondly, no other people can be seen. Because of the snow, everyone could be said to be hiding in their rooms and not going out. After all, I didn't know what to do when I went out. It was completely snowy outside, and there was nothing I could do or anything to do. It can be said that most tribes spent the big ice and snow like this, and there was no entertainment for them. In such a season of ice and snow, there is nothing to hunt. Even the ferocious beasts are resting. To be precise, they should be hibernating. Everywhere is covered with snow, and traveling is very inconvenient. Unless they are really hungry, they will not go out to look for food in such a season. In the main wooden house of the Dark Scorpion tribe, Wu Chenxiao was meeting with some senior leaders of the tribe, including the chief of the tribe. Wu Chenxiao was sitting on the main seat. There were two large bonfires burning on both sides of the chair. It was the only way to feel a trace of warmth in such a cold day. The ground in the middle of the wooden house was dug out to be used as a fire pit, and people were standing on both sides. Wu, the Yanlong tribe's methods are quite clever. None of the people we sent out came back. The strength of this tribe should not be underestimated. Fang Fang has a serious look on his face. He is the chief of the Dark Scorpion tribe. He is an intermediate totem warrior. His strength can be said to be much stronger than that of warriors of the same level. It is precisely because of this that he became the chief. Fang Fang's height is about 2 meters tall, so it seems very crowded inside the wooden house. Although the wooden house is more than 2 meters high, the decoration on the body is even more gorgeous. There are various strings of vicious animal bones and teeth hanging on the outside of the large animal skins. He also wore a huge skull of a ferocious beast as a hat on his head. His long black hair looked greasy. In short, he had an appearance that made people afraid to approach him. You're right, it's been so long, and the tribes around us have never handed over supplies. Maybe it's also because of the Yanlong tribe. Zhang is also very angry. He is the leader of the hunting team of the Dark Scorpion tribe. Although he is said to be the leader of the hunting team, he rarely goes hunting. He almost always waits for other tribes to hand over supplies. The same goes for Zhang. He is an intermediate totem warrior, and his job responsibility is to communicate with the hunting teams of other tribes, and then bring all the food they handed over back to the tribe. However, more than half a year has passed, and he has never received any food from other tribes. The food was handed over, so he had to go hunting. It was precisely because of this that he was so angry. It must be like this. I haven't received news from other tribes for a long time. Although our people went to the Yanlong tribe last time, their tribe was too strange and developed very well. Lia bowed respectfully and continued, although Moth is said to have become the leader of the Yanlong tribe, I think she was coerced. It doesn't make sense in all aspects. As the big boss who leads all the messengers, people who suddenly lost a lot of contact will naturally become suspicious of this matter. In order to find out what happened, Lia once again sent people to Yanlong tribe, that is, Buletin, Lu, Congo, Tan and others. But this time they never came back. Originally, they needed to bring back news about the Yanlong tribe, but it has been several months now. All signs indicate that the Yanlong tribe is not simple, and we may be being led by their noses. Wu Qinshao's expression was particularly solemn. For no other reason. Although communications were not developed in this era, he was not a fool. After thinking about it for a moment, he knew that everything was wrong. And everything was related to the Yanlong tribe. The most important thing is that everything comes together at the same time. Taken together, these several things can mean that the Yanlong tribe is not in any danger, or that this tribe has become part of the Dark Scorpion tribe. Wu Chenshao cannot believable. Wu, if you don't let me go, this tribe will completely disappear from the land. Zhang immediately said. He is eager to get rid of the Yanlong tribe immediately because this tribe asked him to take the warriors to hunt before the big ice and snow came. Since they have not hunted for a long time, their skills are a bit rusty. For this reason, many soldiers were injured or even killed. Zhang wanted to have more tribes under the Dark Scorpion tribe in the future. Only in this way could they hand over supplies, and he would not have to take the soldiers to hunt, so there is a reason to get rid of the Flame Dragon tribe. I'm afraid it won't be easy to deal with even if you go. This tribe is not simple. So many things have happened up to now. Judging from the series, they are all operating, and their methods are very clever. Wu Chenshao stared straight ahead and continued, if you set off rashly with a group of soldiers, you might end up there. This will be a loss to our tribe. In this case, let me go, Wu. I will lead a group of soldiers to go back quickly and definitely wipe out the Yanlong tribe, Fang Ya said immediately. He is considered to be a very powerful person in the Dark Scorpion tribe, and can also be said to be the strength guarantee of this tribe. No, I plan to lead you to set out in person this time, all of you together. Wu Chenshao raised his hand and pressed down, stood up suddenly and continued, based on the news coming back from all aspects, we can see that this tribe is very powerful, so we can no longer let it go. Although the messengers on the Sharp-Tooth side have lost a lot of people, more or less news about the Yanlong tribe has come back. For example, large tribes like the Spotted Deer tribe, especially those who have opened a big market tribe, it is easier for some news to spread. In addition, the Spotted Deer tribe has contacts with the Yanlong tribe, so there will naturally be more news about the latter. Of course, it is not that the former deliberately wanted to leak it, just some the people who came to exchange deliberately tried to find out the news. Wu, are you going to pay so much attention to this tribe this time? Fang Fang expressed that he didn't understand very much. He felt that just going out was a very big deal. If even Wu left the tribe, it would mean that he was serious about it. You must know that the Dark Scorpion tribe has not been mobilized as a whole for a long time. It was just a few years ago when the surrounding tribes began to be unified, that's when the whole group was dispatched to start the sweep. But after that, there was no such thing again, it was all the powerful warriors in the tribe leading a team. Warriors went to crush some tribes. It must be done, Wu Chenshao responded without hesitation. Please support and customize. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 1170. Within the spotted deer tribe, the chief gathered together some of the high-ranking people in the tribe. They were preparing to discuss matters for the coming year. The development of the tribe in the past 2 years was not very good. Especially after the Yanlong tribe developed, the spotted deer tribe became even worse. It's not okay for our tribe to continue like this. If we continue like this, our tribe will be finished sooner or later. Lu Shi had a serious look on his face. As the chief of the tribe, he has the responsibility to lead the tribe to get better and better, but now the tribe is going downhill. This is why Lu Shi is very worried, because once he cannot manage the tribe well, then the chief's position is easily replaced by others. He has become accustomed to sitting in the chief's position and being respected by others for so long. How could he be willing to give up the chief's position? So what? Isn't this your responsibility? The decline of our tribe is also due to you, right? Yi looked unhappy. He was the leader of the spotted deer tribe's hunting team, and was also a strong competitor for the chief's position at the time. It was just that he was not in good condition that day, so he did not perform well at that time, which is also a pity. He missed the position of chief. He has always been brooding about this matter, so every time he saw Lu Shi, he felt very resentful. Of course, he still did all the work he was supposed to do. So, even if Lu Shi sometimes can't do anything to him, even if he knows that the other person is very dissatisfied with him, this is the case. Although I, as the chief of the tribe, have the responsibility to make the tribe better and better, I do not have the ability to prevent the development of other tribes. What would you do if it were you? Lu Shi asked back very seriously. He knew that the other party was using the topic as an excuse, so he threw the question directly to the other party. Lu Shi also knew very well, knowing that if he did not do well this time, he would easily be dismissed from the list. The chief's position was lowered. So he had to throw the problem to others, and he had to clear himself up at this time. Of course, they will completely destroy their tribe. If anyone else dares to compete with our tribe, only our tribe will open a market around here. Yi looked dissatisfied. With a height of over 1.8 meters, very strong muscles, and scars all over his face and body, he looked very fierce. It is precisely because of this that the spotted deer tribe people are very afraid of the opposite sex, so he is still single. But it is also because he does not want a woman. What he wants now is just the opposite sex to become the chief, which is to directly replace Lu Shi. How can he think about it? But Wolushan is very much on the side of the chief, and Yi can't do anything, so he has been holding back. This time he finally found a breakthrough. He must have made a big fuss about this matter, and finally got there. I don't want to throw away the opportunity so easily. We have always been on good terms with the Yanlong tribe, and we helped them defeat the Black Snake tribe before. What's more, we are cooperating with them now. How can you have such an idea? Lu Shi asked with a frown. He had never thought of this, even though the other party had indeed taken away a lot of business from the spotted deer tribe. Of course Lu Shi was angry from the bottom of his heart, but he could only be angry. That's it? After all, who can let the other party have the ability? Suddenly developing such a good product caught the spotted deer tribe a little off guard. Otherwise, what do you think we should do? This tribe poses a great threat to our tribe and prevents our tribe from developing at all. Yi threw the question to the other party again. Anyway, he thought it was to eradicate the things that threaten the development of his tribe, and he didn't care about the rest. I did it as you said, but this tribe is very strong. You saw how they defeated the Black Snake tribe last time. What should we use to fight them? Lu Shi's voice was very deep, and he continued to ask, if you say that we have the advantage in numbers, but their weapons have the advantage, and one of their weapons can defeat several of us, how many of us are enough for them to consume? He would never dare to have the idea of being an enemy of the Yanlong tribe. This is simply too dangerous. Lu Shi really wants to make the tribe develop better, but if the Yanlong tribe is not even strong, he will agree with it. Idea, but the other party is very strong. It is not too much to say that it is the strongest tribe on the road. Of course, the comparison is based on the tribes they know. After all, there are many tribes they do not know. So there is no comparison at all. Then we come to the underworld. Why should we fight them openly? The difference means that he is very unhappy. If you think so, then go ahead and do it yourself. I won't stop you, but all your actions have nothing to do with us and have nothing to do with the spotted deer tribe. Lu Shi's face was so gloomy that he continued, if you die by then, our tribe will not be responsible for you. You are not a child anymore. You should take responsibility for the things you decide. He knows that the other party has been thinking this way, and he also knows that it is difficult to prevent the other party from doing certain things. But when the other party does something out of line, Lu Shi still has to remind the other party first and draw a clear line with the other party to avoid it. Wouldn't be good if something happened when you got it and it affected the entire tribe. Of course I know that if something goes wrong I have to take care of it myself, but I also want to tell you first that if I solve the threat to the tribe, then your position as chief must be given to me, Yi Wei said very ambitiously. He felt that this position was originally for him. Anyway, this time it was for the development of the tribe. If the threat to the spotted deer tribe was eradicated, it would be very justifiable for him to become the chief of the tribe. I can no longer tolerate Lu Shi always occupying the position of chief, occupying the position that should belong to him. Okay, as long as you can do it, I will give you the position of chief, but if you can't do it, anything you do has nothing to do with our tribe, Lu Shi warned again. He was already happy in his heart. He knew that the other party would not be able to do it. The reason why he agreed was just to create a threat. Lu Shi knew that if he did not get rid of this person, then the chief's position has always been unstable. But it is impossible for him to take action. Yi is a member of the tribe after all, and he is an intermediate totem warrior. It would be a bit too obvious to take action. Just wait for me. Yi suddenly felt the corners of his mouth rise. Of course he understood what the other person was thinking, but he felt that he was not made of mud. Please support and customize. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 1171. It is still snowing continuously today, but the Yanlong tribe will not feel sad at all because of the season. They were even so happy that some even started to hold parties. It's said to be a party, but it's actually just a group of friends gathering together to eat. The scene looks like a happy one. The current life is simply unimaginable for them, especially in winter when there is plenty of food and charcoal fire. So they were able to live through a very warm and very full snow and ice, which they had never experienced before. Sister, are these really given to us by witches? Wen raised her head carefully and asked. The little loli looked at the table in front of her that was full of food, and she was a little overwhelmed. She had never experienced so much food, and it was still in this damn big place. Ice and snow period. Not to mention there is so much food when there is heavy ice and snow. As long as there is a little bit of food, you should have fun. How dare you think of such a pile of food in front of you, which is why Wen is a little flattered. Of course it was given to us by the witch. I couldn't believe it at first, but the witch kept letting us hold it. Min has just calmed down. She couldn't believe it when she first received the food, and she was stunned for a while. If Yuying hadn't explained it very patiently, Min would not have dared to accept it. This food. There are more than 10 kilograms of dried meat and some dried fruits and cans. Salt and some other seasonings were also distributed. In addition, some animal skins were given so that the sisters could make clothes to keep warm, and then 2 very thick quilts. After all, it's so cold with heavy ice and snow, how can you survive such a cold season without some quilts? But we also have food to eat every day when we work, and some banknotes are also given to us regularly, and we can completely exchange them with banknotes. Wen still had a look of disbelief on her face and said in a sweet voice, "Don't we just have some banknotes saved now? Why do witches still give us so many good things?" Lori is now teaching painting to the children in the tribe, so she is paid every month, and 3 meals are included. Not to mention her sister, who directly helps in the kitchen. Every month there is also a salary, and food and accommodation are included. The original idea was to arrange for them to live in Yongan building, but the 2 sisters immediately refused. It is not that they dislike the environment of Yongan building, but it is the opposite. It is because Yongan building it was so good that the sisters couldn't bear it at all. So they were arranged to live in a house closest to Yongan building. Almost all the people living in that house were maids from Yongan building, so the sisters, it's very suitable for the 2 of us to live there. I don't know why, but Wu said this seems to be a year-end bonus or something, and extra bonuses will be given out every year during the big ice and snow events. Min thought about what she heard. Yuying explained it to her sister when she was preparing these things, and also emphasized not to have any psychological burden. This thing is a reward from witches. Ordinary people don't have it yet. There are some high-level people who have jobs in Yongan. What's more, both sisters are working for the tribe, and one of them is still teaching children to draw. This is a technical job, and it is also very useful to distribute more food when there is heavy ice and snow. Normal. But we received too much at once. The food we had saved before was not finished yet, but now there is more. Wen is still a little uneasy. The main reason is that she suddenly lived a good life, with a stable job and a stable place to live. Before Loli could escape from this sense of happiness, she immediately fell to another. In the honeypot. Wen mainly doesn't want to live such a good life forever. If they live a bad life again in the future, the memories of such good days will be painful for them. She thinks that instead of suffering in the future, it is better to be herself now. Be polite and don't expect too many good things. Don't worry, Wu told us not to have any psychological burden. As long as we work hard to repay, we deserve these, and they also said that there will be other benefits after a while. Min tried her best to persuade her sister. Besides, aren't you having a hard time in class every day? Just think of these as replenishing your body. You must be exhausted from the work of leaving early and coming back late every day. The girl feels that her sister's work is harder than her own. She just works in the kitchen every day, but Wen has to work in school. What she has to face are those stupid kids. Children are always more difficult. Disciplinary, not to mention that Wen is not very old, only a few years older than those children. Okay, can you really accept it with peace of mind? Wen asked. She was still a little unsure, mainly because the food on the table could be eaten for more than 20 days. This is how they eat when their stomachs are full. If they spend more frugally, they can spend this big day. Ice and snow periods are no problem at all. Don't worry, the witch even asked us to eat with open stomachs, saying that there would be something different for us next. Min Wen said. What is something different? Wen asked. I don't know either, I'll tell you when the time comes. Min shook his head. Well, anyway, I have classes to come, so I will work harder to teach those children these days, so as to repay this tribe. Wen said seriously. Loli felt that she must not take the things of this tribe for nothing, and she must pay something for these tribes. Originally, she was not accepted by any tribe if she painted casually, but she did not expect that the Yanlong tribe would accept it. Paying herself a salary, and then providing food, accommodation, and some extra things. This is simply unthinkable, so Wen has decided to give her life to this tribe. Take me to see you. I have never seen you in class. It just so happens that I can learn it too. Min said with a smile. Don't you need help over there at Yongan building? Wen said doubtfully. He said that he just had to cook the lunch meal every day, and Sister Yuying would finish the dinner. He said that this was a special holiday for me. Min said softly. Ah, why is it so good? Wen couldn't believe what she just heard. Even if she was given some extra food, she actually still has such sufficient rest time every day. If you calculate it like this, you don't have to go early in the morning and don't have to make up for it in the evening. You only need to be busy for a while at noon. Alright. So we didn't follow the wrong person or join the wrong tribe. Being exchanged to this tribe is a good thing. Min smiled very happily. I feel so too. Wen showed her cute tiger teeth. Please support and customize. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 1172. Since Yong'an building has heating, it's not so cold in Dabing Xue. In particular, Subai and others were able to change into short sleeves in Yong'an building, which made them look particularly cool. There was no fire pit specially raised in the living room, but there was a stove with a little hot coals placed in it. This is only used when boiling water, there is no need to use it to heat the fire. Wu, what are these? Yu Ying looked at the strange things on the table and was curious. This is poker, do you want to try it? Subai became interested instantly. When he signed into the system in the morning, he got a deck of playing cards. Good guy, but now it has something for entertainment. Of course, it's not that this couldn't be done in the primitive era, it just didn't happen all of a sudden. Think about it this way. If this thing hadn't been developed from the system, there might not have been such a thing as poker cards in a short time. Woo, what are playing cards? This one looks so exquisite. Yu Ying started to play with the playing cards. The playing cards played by the system were very classic ones, with diamonds, clubs, hearts, spades, and black patterns on the back. In my hometown, it is a kind of entertainment game tool. Don't underestimate this thing. There are many games that can be played. The corners of Subai's mouth raised slightly. Woo, then teach us how to play. Anyway, there is nothing to do today. Yanhua blinked her beautiful eyes expectantly. Yes, this thing looks so exquisite, and the gameplay must be very complicated. Shalan couldn't wait any longer. They couldn't put it down when they looked at the playing card, but they didn't dare to touch it too much. When they first picked it up, they found that it was very thin, and they were afraid that they would accidentally damage it. It's not particularly complicated. There are several very simple games that you can play without learning. The name of a game immediately came to Subai's mind. This game can be said to have been played since childhood. If he hadn't traveled through time now, he would sometimes play this game in the wine shop. Because there is no technical content. It just depends on luck, so many people will like it. After all, most people don't like some more complicated games, lest they become a black hole in the game and have to drink frequently. Then Wu, please tell me how to play. Yanhua was so excited that she kept blinking her eyes. I will distribute the cards evenly to the four of us, and then you will throw out the cards with the same number in your hand. You have to throw them away in pairs, and finally the cards with the same number are left in your hands. Subai started to shuffle the cards while continuing to explain. Then one person will start to draw the cards of the next house. If the card drawn has the same number as the one in his hand, throw it away. If not, keep it, and then be drawn. Of people will draw the next one. He began to patiently explain to the girls, speaking very slowly so that they could keep up. When Subai talks about poker, the first game that comes to mind is catching turtles. This can be said to be a very simple game, so simple that even primary school students can play it. It is also a very popular poker game. Good Yanhua and the others looked very well behaved and waited quietly for the cards to be dealt. Subai very skillfully started shuffling the cards and then distributed the cards to everyone. He was completely done in a few or two strokes. Wu is so powerful. How did you do it just now? Sent to us at once. Yu Ying's pink eyes widened in surprise. The fox-eared lady was completely shocked by Subai's flowing movements. The cards were shuffled in 2 or 3 strokes. And the shuffling movements were also very fast, fast. The kind that the naked eye can't keep up with. The point is that the movements are so fancy, but the cards haven't fallen out at all. You'll get better at it after practicing a few times. It's very simple. Just take a look at the cards in your hand to see if they have the same number, Subai said with a smile. He also picked up the pile of cards in front of him and started sorting them out, and then threw away the same numbers inside. Yanhua, Yuying, and Shalan were stunned for a moment, and then they also sorted out the cards. Stack the playing cards and put out the same numbers. Xiao, wait a minute, this won't work. What I just said are 2 cards with the same number. What you are playing now are 3 cards of the same number. You have to take one back, Subai explained patiently. I see, Yuying said in a sweet voice, and then took back the other extra card. Shalan originally wanted to play 3 of the same cards just now, but after hearing this, she silently took back another card. After a few minutes, the girls all sorted out the cards in their hands, and then began to look at each other. Are you sure the cards in your hand are not the same? Subai asked again. Nothing is the same anymore, the girls responded in unison. That's good. None of you have played this game, so I'll start by drawing cards. After Subai finished speaking, he put away the playing cards in his hand, turned around and drew the cards in Yanhua's hand. He looked at the drawn cards and then at the cards in his own hand, and said, Look, I came from the flower drew a 4, and I also have a 4 in my hand, so I can make a pair and throw it away. Do you understand? Subai wanted to emphasize again. After all, people in the primitive era were relatively simple and had no experience with this kind of game. Got it, Wu, it's my turn to smoke. Alan's next, right? Yanhua asked halfway and already stretched out her hand. That's right. Subai started to drink tea, wanting to see how the girls played this game. Yanhua drew a card with the number 7, which happened to be the same as the one in his hand, and he happily took the pair of cards, let it go. She fiddled with her beautiful long black hair and asked what is the final result of this drama? The girls only know how to play this game, but they don't know what the final result of this game is. If you just draw cards purely like this, then this game doesn't have much meaning. Anyway, Yanhua feels this way. It's a game, there must be a result. Didn't I draw one card when the cards were dealt at the beginning? Does anyone remember? Subai asked. Yanhua immediately raised her hands. I remember too. Me too. Shalan and Yuying immediately raised their hands and began to look forward to the next explanation. At the end of the draw, the few of us will have an extra card. That card is a pair with the card I drew at the beginning. Whoever draws that extra card loses. Subai suddenly became angry and said, the loser will have something painted on his face by all of us. What do you think of this punishment? I agree. Yanhua became excited instantly. Me too. Only then did Shalan feel that the game was starting to become more fun, and she also felt that she was starting to get nervous. Good. Yuying silently began to count the cards in her hand. Please support and customize. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 1173. After a few minutes, the girls only had 2 or 3 playing cards left in their hands. This means that the game has entered the final stage, and the expressions of Yuying and others are very nervous. They looked closely at the playing cards in their hands, then looked up at the next person to draw. It's my turn, there are only 2 on my side, if I go well, I should be the first one to leave the game. After Subai finished speaking, he drew the next card, and finally they formed a pair and threw them into the card pile. He said with a smile, unfortunately, I only have the last card left. You have to work hard. He said this on purpose, in order to put some pressure on the girls and let them feel the urgency of this game. Otherwise, the cheerful scene in front will make the girls forget that this is a game with punishment. It's my turn. Yanhua also turned around and abstracted the playing cards in the hands of the cat-eared girl. After the cow-horned girl pulled them back, she compared the two playing cards in her hand and was disappointed. No way, that trump card won't be with me, right? Yanhua panicked for a moment. Niojiao Niang looked at the playing cards in other people's hands and thought that if things didn't go well, she would be the loser in the end. Everyone, be careful. The trump card is now in Ahua's hand, so you have to look at it very carefully. Subai immediately raised the atmosphere of the game. This is the effect he wants. He must let the girl know that this game is actually very tense. Although he only draws and throws away the matching poker cards, the game must be created by himself. A sense of atmosphere. So that's it, that card turned out to be the trump card. Thank you Ahua for helping me to draw it out. Shalan smiled very happily. Then I have to be careful. Wu draws sister Ahua's playing cards. If he accidentally draws them back, I will be the one in danger, Yu Ying said immediately. Don't worry, let me draw one first. Shalan reached out and pulled out a playing card from the fox-eared girl. The cat-eared girl found a matching pair of cards, and then immediately threw the pair of cards into the pile of playing cards. One less card counts. It's my turn to draw a card, Yu Ying said in a milky voice. Okay. Subai turned around and handed over the last card, saying, don't worry about it being my turn, this is my last card. That's how this game is. The one who ends his cards first wins. It doesn't mean he won, it should be said he got out. After all, there is only one loser in this game, and the faster he gets out, the safer he will be. It scared me to death. I thought the witch was going to draw again, so I wouldn't have to worry about drawing that whole card. Yu Ying immediately breathed a sigh of relief. She put the playing cards she had just drawn into a pair and threw them away. Then there was only one playing card left in her hand. That's not the case. When it's your turn to draw cards in the next round, you have to draw the playing cards from Ahua's hand. It doesn't mean that you don't have to draw cards after I leave, Subai said immediately. This is the fun part of this game. One person draws the next card one after another. Even if someone ends the card early in the middle, the person who drew the card last cannot pick up the card and has to draw the next one immediately. Man's card. Okay, then I'm in great danger. The person I'm facing directly is Sister Ahua. Yu Ying instantly became nervous. Why are you doing this? It makes me seem like a dangerous person. Yanhua immediately started to clean the playing cards in her hand. Because next she was going to draw other people's playing cards. If she was lucky, she would be able to match them successfully. Give me one. Yanhua stretched out her hand and pulled back a playing card. Fortunately, it happened to be a pair. Niojiao Niang felt that it would be safer to have one less playing card in her hand, and at least she could escape earlier. Then it was my turn to draw Xiao's card. Shalan also reached out and pulled out one card, and said happily, great, my playing cards are also matched. The playing cards in the cat-eared girl's hand are all over, so she is the second person who can end the game. Ah, it's over for you too. Then isn't the person who loses in the end between me and Sister Ahua? Yu Ying became nervous instantly. There was no other reason, because she only had the last playing card left in her hand. Yanhua still had two playing cards in her hand. If you accidentally drew the whole card, then there is no way to escape by pairing. It seems that this is the true meaning of the game. After this, we have to win or lose. Yanhua officially started to get excited. Originally, Niojiao Niang was a little nervous, but now she feels it is particularly interesting. She carefully cleaned the playing cards in her hand, and then laid them out for the opponent to draw. This shouldn't happen to me, right? Yu Ying said as she stretched out her hand to draw the playing cards. She kept squinting her eyes slightly at the expression of Niojiao Niang, trying to catch some clues from the other party's face. but it was obvious that Yanhua did not look at it. He picked up the playing card in his hand and turned to look elsewhere. He did this because he didn't want the fox-eared girl to see his expression, so he chose the card that could match him. Sister Ahua is really cunning, so I can only draw one based on my luck, Yu Ying said seriously. The fox-eared lady began to swim back and forth on the playing cards, and she couldn't make up her mind to draw one. Hurry up, you can't hesitate any longer. If you hesitate any longer, you lose. Subai can't wait to see the results. Ah. Okay, I know. Yu Ying immediately made up her mind and drew a card. She didn't dare to look at the drawn card at first. After hesitating for a long time, she slowly opened a small corner and started to read. How about it? Lost or won? Subai asked. Yeah. Great, I made a couple directly, then the loser is Sister Ahua. Yu Ying laughed happily. Ah. I thought I could play two more, but I didn't expect you to be so lucky and I took yours away in no time, Yanhua suddenly cried. She didn't mean to care about winning or losing, she just thought that it would be nice if she could play more games. After all, this kind of game where you come and go is really fun, and you can easily become the loser if you are not careful. That person. Sister Ahua lost, it seems you have to accept punishment. Yu Ying happily shook her pink fox tail. I am willing to admit defeat, but what is the penalty for losing? Yanhua asked. The loser will have something painted on his face. Subai has already asked someone to bring out the quill. This punishment is good. Ahua is so pretty, so it doesn't matter if she paints something on her face. Shalan tried hard to convince herself. That is to say, she convinced herself to work hard to draw. Although she felt bad, she felt very happy at the same time. Please support and customize. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 1174. Yanhua's delicate face was painted with many kinds of patterns, including all kinds of strange geometric figures, as well as some flowers and plants. But the most eye-catching thing should be the big turtle painted on the left face. This is Subai's masterpiece. Only he knows the essence of this game. If he loses, he will definitely have a big turtle painted on his face. After all, this is the only way to be more interesting. Drawing something carelessly would be a bit boring. You are a bit too harsh in your attack, leaving no room at all. Yanhua looked at the mirror and rolled her eyes. Although it doesn't mean that the whole face is covered with paint, it's not much different. Now both sides of the face and forehead are covered with paint, except for the areas around the eyes. Where's the chin and nose? Isn't it because you are so addicted to starting all at once that you forget to measure yourself? Shalan smiled sheepishly, but she still felt very enjoyable. I painted very little, I just painted some small flowers and grass. Yu Ying stuck out her tongue playfully. The fox-eared lady originally wanted to draw something funny, but she really didn't know what to draw. After all, the game is called Turtle Card, so it's okay to draw a turtle on your face, right? Subai shrugged his shoulders and said with a smile. He liked to see the girl's face covered with patterns, which formed a sharp contrast with usual. Well, you will definitely lose in the next round, and I will definitely win back the victory. Yanhua was full of fighting spirit in an instant. The main reason is that now only her face is covered with patterns, and the rest of her face is still very clean. It is precisely because of this that her desire to win is stimulated, and she is bound to want to win against others. Just paint something on your face too. Is that so? Suddenly I remembered that I still had things to do. Subai deliberately joked. Me too, I still have some unfinished business in the kitchen. Yu Ying also pretended to get up immediately. I'm going to help in the kitchen. It's been a long time since I've been to the kitchen. Shalan shook the cat's tail and teased. No, absolutely not, you haven't been painted yet, how can you leave first? Yanhua was stunned for a moment. She was a little at a loss when she saw the few people standing up, and her huge red eyes couldn't help blinking. For a while, Yanhua stood up and sat down again. He got up again, his expression was particularly astonished. Okay, kidding you, I will definitely continue to play a few more rounds. Subai laughed heartily. He looked at Nyojiao Niang's unprepared look, which was very cute, and he was not willing to continue teasing her. I knew Sister Ahua would be stunned. The look just now was so cute Yu Ying couldn't help but covered her mouth and laughed. When the fox-eared lady saw Subai's expression and movements, she instantly understood, and then she also cooperated with the acting. It's definitely not possible to just play for a while and then leave. I want to draw you a few more times. Shalan expressed her inner thoughts without hesitation. Mainly because the cat-eared lady really wanted to paint on the horned lady's face, and she had also thought about what pattern she should draw next time. It's not that easy. I will never lose so quickly next time. I must be the first to win, Yanhua said solemnly. Everything is ready, right? Then I'm ready to shuffle the cards. Subai sorted out the playing cards that had just been messed up. He sorted out the playing cards in twos and twos, and then started shuffling the cards smoothly. Come on, who will draw a whole card first and put it up? Remember not to peek, Subai warned. Let me take it, I don't believe that I will lose after taking it, Yanhua was the first to say. This depends on luck. You won't lose if you are the first to get it? Of course, I definitely hope you have more luck, otherwise there will be no room to draw on your face if you lose, Subai joked. Don't worry, Wu, even if you lose, I will never show mercy. The worst I can do is make the pattern smaller. Yanhua looked like she had a chance to win. It's a dream come true, but first you must win first, don't let me be the first to leave again, Subai said, blinking his black eyes. Swish swish swish. Subai shuffled the playing cards in a few moments and distributed them evenly to the others. He sorted out the pile of cards in front of him and said, come on, take out all the matching cards. The others immediately began to sort out the playing cards. After the first round of experience, they quickly matched the cards. All the playing cards were taken out. So who is going to be the first to start drawing cards now? I went first in the last round, Subai asked. He felt that it didn't matter who went first and who came last. The most important thing was luck. Because in this game, you can't see other people's playing cards, and your own cards are randomly assigned. As for the draw, whether the cards can be matched is another matter. I come, Yanhua immediately raised her hand and said, the current winning or losing rate can be said to be very strong, and she definitely doesn't want to have her face painted again. Okay, then you draw my card first, and then I'll draw Xiao's card next. Subai turned the arranged playing cards over there. Good. Yanhua looked at the back of the playing cards for a long time this time. After observing for a long time, she finally drew one. Unfortunately, it did not match the playing cards in her hand. It all depends on luck. See, it's not the first one who draws a card to get a match, now it's my turn, Subai said with a smile. He drew one from the fox-eared girl, but the result was the same. There was no matching. Now the game became more fun. No two people in a row matched? Then I can definitely do it. Yu Ying stuck out her little tongue and said cutely. She slapped the cat-eared girl and they were matched, and she laughed happily. This is how innocent girls are, because every little thing can make them happy. Sky. So can I. Shalan excitedly drew a card belonging to the horn girl, and it turned out to be a match. Now one less card is safer, but it is more dangerous for us. Yanhua turned her head and observed the playing cards very carefully. She always felt that she shouldn't be too casual when drawing playing cards, otherwise it would be easy to draw cards that are difficult to match. Great, finally a matching one. Yanhua happily threw a pair of sevens into the deck. Sometimes don't be happy too early. When in the end the corners of Subai's mouth raised slightly. The card drawing game continued amidst the laughter and laughter. After one card was drawn, the next one was drawn immediately. Soon the game came to a fierce stage, and Subai was the first to give priority to explaining the game. People. At the last match point, only Yuying and Shailin were left. Yanhua was already smiling from ear to ear at this moment. Please support and customize.